Heidi ho there, fishermen. Welcome back to part 2 of my bank fishing, what's in my tackle box, what's my rigging series. There's only going to be 2 parts, this last part. So again, I'm going to go through what I currently have bait-wise in my tackle boxes. You see both of them there. Kind of what the tackle boxes are, things of that nature, all in this one. So again, any questions, comments, suggestions for videos, throw them down in the description or in the comments down below. I will get to them and I will answer any questions or take suggestions for videos. Thank you. Okay, and so tackle box number 1 I have here is just an Eagle Claw, red and blue. It was kind of a ready to fish type tackle box. So it came with a lot of what you're gonna see throughout this tackle box and the other, a lot of terminal tackle, some fishing line, things of that nature. But what you've got in here, a couple jig heads, some other little tiny hooks, some panfish hooks, like that one there that's like super tiny, some worm hooks. You've got split shots and bullet weights, regular old Eagle Claw brass swivels, a little bigger than what I like to use, just because, I mean, gosh, look at that. I know it kind of bumped the camera right up to my hand, but it's a pretty good sized swivel. A couple small, just regular bobbers, a couple soft plastics that I've probably stuck on spinners, things like that, that I've pulled off and set in there. Here is one of my favorite lures, which is my Lunker Hunt Frog. It's got the Whopper Plopper feet on there. They both spin. I did catch a bass on this just a couple weekends ago. I will add the picture now. And so that, and then a couple spinners in there, 2 crankbaits over here, you know, a little shallow one, a little deeper. There are 3 Whopper Ploppers in here. You're also going to see a Whopper Plopper in the other tackle box. Topwater fishing is my favorite. Obviously, only really beautiful, great when it's cooler out. The bass are more at the top, or the predatory fish are more at the top. But I do love it because everybody loves the blow up, right? When you see the bass come up out of the water to grab your lure. And then a really massive crankbait that probably dives deeper than any lake in the state of Kansas. Next up in here we have some Zoom Super Salt Plus Mag 2 Tequila Sunrise ribbon tail worms. It actually doesn't say how long they are, but they're those. Again, in Kansas, I'm fishing in a lot of stained water, so these darker colors, they cast more of a silhouette for the fish to see. Here are the plastics that came in that Shakespeare Ready to Fish rod that I was talking to you about earlier. These are the soft plastics that it came with. A lot of this stuff you're going to see in here came out of a Lucky tackle box or a mystery tackle box like this. So your B&M Super Synod says it's been cooked in pork fat, so that's an interesting thing. Little swim baits with the paddle tails on them. Never used them. They've never been opened. Then again, if they're scented, probably won't open them until I'm out of the lake, but always could be worth a try. A little panfish and trout spinner here, just super simple. Little attacher there, and then spinner and a treble hook. Realtree, which Realtree stick worms, 5-inch ones, camo green. These came out of a Lucky tackle box. If you want my recommendation on like fishing clothes or fishing apparel, Hook is great. I have a couple Hook shirts. But I really love Realtree stuff that you can get at Walmart. The shorts, the long sleeve shirts with the hoods, things of that nature. A little bit of UPF protection there. I wear the kind of teal blue one that I own that has a hood on it. Basically, anytime I go fishing. Even yesterday when I went, it was like 86 degrees, and I went fishing and wore that shirt. Next, you got a little spinner here, a little chartreuse blue colored spinner, super nice blaze. Got it from Ziners here in Wichita, Kansas, down on Washington K15. Next, you got a rooster tail that I also bought at Ziners. Obviously, rooster tails are a ton of fun. You can catch a lot of stuff on rooster tails, anything from crappie, probably even some, real aggressive bluegill, all the way up through bass and things of that nature. So there are those. Hogzillas that came out of a Lucky Tackle box, 10 inches. Again, I very rarely will probably throw these because they're 10 inches long, but you never know. Sometimes they are dark green, so they're the right colors. Here we have a premium medium diver crankbait from H2OX. Again, Academy Sports and Outdoors is in-store brand. As I move it off screen to try and push the lid down, but super nice, not a bad looking little lure in red craw. Sometimes I pick stuff out that I'm just like, hey, I like the color of that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've got an XD series, 5XD, dives to 15 feet, highly recommended crankbait from stuff I've read online. I believe about this at Academy, they didn't have the color I really wanted, but here that is. And then next up we have Fathead Junior 5-inch swim baits. These things are like obviously super detailed, look like a little bait fish, right? Paddle tail on there, eyeball, all that fun stuff. Stick a hook through them and just swim them across, whatever depth you want to let them sink to, because they're, I can tell you holding them in my hand, they're fairly heavy, so you will get some sink from them just naturally. And then other than the stringer and the little bit of like H2OX bass rigging suggestion thing that I've got there, is this here, which is a Castiac. It's a swim bait. It's a 6-inch, really big, never taken it out of the package. Also came out of a Lucky Tackle box. Got the hook there, super detailed. Again, kind of looks like a bait fish, so nice to just throw on and throw in swim bait. Definitely let it dive. Probably more for fish that are suspended or deeper in the water, trying to be in the cooler water. So that is everything that is in the first tackle box, and we will move on to my tackle bag, which is more of like a sling over the shoulder bag. Then I don't really have a backpack yet, but I will show you that next. All right, and so here is my tackle bag. As you can see, H2OX, because again, I don't, mind a store brand type situation. I will go through the outside pockets here first. Some fish grippers, which, interesting little story. My dad found these just in a, campfire at the Lyon County State Fishing Lake here in Kansas. If you happen to be missing these because you left them out there, just comment, DM me. I can always send them back to you. I'm not looking to take anybody's stuff. We were the only ones out there and we happened to see them, so my dad picked them up. Here in this pocket, I like to keep a lot more of my plastics. Now these are ones that I've gone out and bought that are more like what I like to fish with. So first things first, here we have some Yum dingers, $3.99 as you can see, everyday low price. Dunham's in Emporia, Kansas. Hook to use, even says it on there. Black and blue flake, again, stained water, dark colors, a little easier to see. Stick them on a wacky rig, Texas rig, Carolina rig, anything like that. Let them sink to the bottom, bounce them, a little more finesse action. As I said, I'm not just fishing for bass out there. I do throw out and try and catch crappie here and there. So here's some, you're going to see a few packages of Bobby Garland crappie baits. Here's the baby shad, original baby shad, blue ice. And I've got, again, the original baby shad, electric chicken, which you saw on that H2OX rod that I had over there. Super, super cool concept there, like the pink and the green. Then you have here, again, more original baby shad. This one's called Monkey Milk, just kind of a white with some black going through it there. Super, super nice. Obviously, these ones aren't open, so I haven't thrown them out there yet. So we'll see how they go when I decide to finally throw them. Next up, something just fell off of there, which is nice, is another set of Yum dingers. Look at that, watermelon and red flake, which is the worm you saw on the Shakespeare rod that I showed you a little while earlier. Again, $3.99, Dunham's. Got the Bobby Garland shad stuff at Dunham's in Emporia, Kansas. Super nice store, has a ton of selection, because I'm not sure a lot of people realize it's back behind the what is left of the mall there in Emporia. Got some mini lizards, 4-inch watermelon red mini lizards. Everyone's gonna be like, what the heck, Brian, mini lizards, $6.99, again at Dunham's. Yes, so fun story behind why I will always keep a pack of these. My grandfather owned a pond for the longest time in White City, Kansas. Me and my dad used to go fish, and one day we were just buying bait before we went up one time. I think I had to do chores and help around the farm before I could go fishing, but I was like a super young kid, and I bought these. I told my dad I wanted these. I think they were bigger. I think they were 6-inch, like normal size lizard, but he was like, why? Those are like the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, just, you know, adamant, because I'm a small child, like, let me throw them. I threw these out all afternoon long with my dad, and we filled a stringer full of bass, or I did. I think my dad caught a few, but not on a lizard. Every time I threw this lizard out, and I think it was just on a hook, my dad rigged it up, because again, I was super young, and every throw, it felt like I got a hit or I caught a bass. I was a kid, so I probably missed a bunch of them too, but super cool concept. You could throw them non-weighted, just let them kind of jiggle across the top of the water, because they got those arms on there that would do some nice, you know, bouncing. You got some Euro Tackle Micro Finesse Euro tubes. Say they're pheromone scented. This is a mystery tackle box thing, so although I said that these were stuff I'd buy, these were not, but there is those. Here you have some Thin Swims, G-Rat baits. I again got these out of a mystery tackle box. Haven't used them because I opened that mystery tackle box. Well, my dad gave it back to me not long ago, a few weekends ago when we were fishing around Emporia. He found it out in the garage. So super cool. Put them on a jig head. Put them as a trailer on a spinner or a chatterbait, something like that. You can see those paddle tails, which would be real fun to see while going through the water as well. Here's the other bag of Zoom baits that I own. Super Salt Plus, again, OL Monsters. These are in plum, so in purplish color, dark color for, again, those stained ponds and lakes that we fish around here. Again, I stick them on just like a jig head or throw them on a spinner, chatterbait, just give something a little bit of a tail, looks a little more natural. Lastly, you see one's missing because you'll see it in the box here in a little bit, and it will look ridiculous. And of course I didn't catch anything on what I did, but I had been fishing for a while and went a little crazy because I wasn't getting any bites. Some Exo Swims. These are super cool. I really like the look of them with the green and the black flakes going through it. So those are super nice. Again, stick them on a spinner or anything like that. Could probably put them on a jig head and just fish them like a jig. So, but that is the first pocket there over to the left. We'll just leave that stuff out for now. Little scented bait ball, almost like a bath bomb, but for apparently bait cloud. So got this out of a mystery tackle box. Anybody ever use these? Throw it in the comments. Let me know. Be like, oh yeah, I've used it and it worked great. Or there you see Lucky Tackle Box, which is what I got it out of. Not a plug, not sponsored, just happened to be what it was. So not a mystery tackle box, as I've said for the last 15 minutes. It was a Lucky Tackle Box. So there is that bait cloud thing. Again, let me know if it works, because I need all the help I can get. And then power bait. This is Shaky Worms and Tiger Power Grubs, as you can read there. This came out of that Shakespeare clear tackle box as well that I got on the Shakespeare fishing rod. Next pocket. This has some electrical tape. Good to always have in a pinch in case you need it. Some line. So here's some Seeger Red Label fluorocarbon. This is the leader that's on the Crazy Americana, 12 pound. There you go. Here is spider wire stealth braid. Okay, so I put moss green spider wire stealth braid. I said 30 pound. Looks like it was 20. Most of it's gone because it all fit on the rod. And then what else do I got? I've got this came in that Eagle Claw red and blue tackle box, little 8 pound test line premium monofilament. Always good if you're a beginner, somebody learning, which I say I am, but then yet have expensive line on my stuff and I break off and then I just get mad. So things that happen all the time. Then some Eagle Claw, just terminal tackle, some split shot weights, that type of a thing. So that is all that is in that pocket. So I'm going to now open the top and we will come back and look at that here in a second. All right, so in my first plastic tray, which was in the middle of that H2OX blue and green sling bag, is this piece of plastic, this plastic tackle box here. What you got, I got another float for crappie fishing right there. Got two to four stick bobbers, some smaller ones, so that, you know, I can catch little tiny stuff. Everybody likes to catch stuff when they're fishing, so I'm never against throwing a worm on a hook, little stick bobber, and just catching bluegill and red ear sunfish all night long. It is an enjoyable experience. Obviously, you don't want to just sit out there and not catch anything all the time, so sometimes I go with a little bit of that action. Two things of jig heads. You saw one of these, the smaller one, on the H2OX fishing rod with the electric chicken by Bobby Garland shad on there. A little bigger jig head in case I want something a little more weight. Bobber stoppers, you've obviously got some bobbers, plastics, some spinners with plastics on them already, some more plastics, split shot weights, kind of a jig head. I honestly couldn't tell you what this is. If somebody knows, put it in the comments, but not something I've ever thrown. A couple just hooks in there as well. So that's tray number one. That's just a lot of terminal tackle. One thing I bought on Amazon was kind of like a beginner, see, I opened a mystery tackle box too because there's a sticker. I got, it was like 30 bucks, came with like 300 pieces of bass fishing equipment. You're gonna see a lot of that throughout here because I needed a lot of room for it. Some of these plastics, which one thing I got in this, in that tackle box that I was really interested in, and I think it's in here potentially, but they were like crickets. Oh, there they are. They're like green crickets, which I just threw into the wrong thing. I feel like if you threw this, and I'm going to test it at some point, you guys are probably going to get to see it, but there's these bugs in Kansas that sit on top of the water and kind of just splash around, kind of roll around. And I think if you threw these on top and kind of tried to mimic that, maybe you would you'd get some bites on that. Pardon my arm and my freckles there. Obviously been in the sun, not wearing sunscreen for most of my life. Next, you have some bullet weights, some drop shot weights, things of that nature. More bobber stops because I didn't realize I had some and bought some more when I was lining that ultralight crappie rod. The crickets, larva. Ton of these like little quicker type swivels that you can use that kind of just bounce out of there. Thought about getting the quick clips. Tell me in the comments if you think the quick clips are any good. I see them on TikTok, things of that nature. Beads that you can put on like jig heads, things of that nature, or off the end of like a Texas rig just to give it a little bit of an eyeball. Some more soft plastics, swim bait, or a popper, spook. Again, beginner. I'm not fully sure, but red and kind of interesting colors. There's another whopper plopper, so I've got 4 of those now. Crankbait, another little crankbait, another crankbait. Spinners there that are just got a treble hook on the back of them, so if you just want to throw, feel like maybe just a straight up like spinner with no tail or anything. More jig heads, some more just regular hooks here that you can use for Texas rigging or anything of that nature. Baitmate Fish Attractant, got that sticker in a Lucky Tackle box, I'm sure. All right, so some things here. Obviously bullet weights, there's more terminal tackle, drop shot weights, jig heads, weighted heads, interesting looking, right? Some more down here that are a little bit smaller, those type of things. The little rubber bands that you can use when you're wacky rigging, which I'll do a video, I'm sure, on wacky rigging up line. Instead of like hooking through the worm, which obviously starts to split it and then fish bite it and then you gotta switch it out, this is just a rubber band that goes over the hook in the worm. Kind of a nice little invention there. Some more just regular hooks, bobber stops, again that I bought some more and I didn't know that I already had them. Some more regular hooks, the beads like what you saw when I showed you the Texas rigged line over there. So these are really great because when that weight drops down and then hits the bottom and then everything else, the line comes through it, this bead hits stuff, makes a little bit of noise because obviously bass and other predatory fish, they will react off noise. Some barrel swivels, so barrel swivels are great. You'll notice a lot of Carolina rig uses these a lot. So you'll tie a leader and line through one end, tie your main line through another end, and Carolina rig. There's again some hooks, some, you know, these I use only when I'm catfishing, which I will do time to time. If anybody wants to see catfishing, let me know. I do love doing that. Probably use that spinning rod with the 30-pound test, or maybe we'll look at, you know, buying a rod for catfishing. There is the Arkansas River, runs not far from my apartment, so could definitely go down there and see if we can catch any massive catfish, some river monsters, as Jeremy Wade would say. And then again, drop shot weight. Last one of these, and then the last two pieces that I have in my tackle box that are probably the most valuable pieces. Spinners that you can add to stuff, regular hooks. Here is, there, I told you that exo skin was on something that so I put it on this old black and red jig here. Throw it out, let it bounce across the bottom, see how that tail wiggles. You know, looks ridiculous. Probably will never get a bite on it, but I was having some fun. Chatterbait, which is always good to have. Do love chatterbaits. Again, like I said, bass are, you know, attracted to sound sometimes, so that'll sometimes set them off as well. Put those back in there. Regular spinner, which is a, you know, I like it. It's a good looking, good color. Got two spinners on there, dual spinner, and big old nasty hook, which you can throw, you know, something to trail off of that. Yeah, any recommendations though in the comments? I just like, so I hook the swivel on there, and then it always ends up like down here or up here over these beads. So just try and, if anybody knows a way to stop that from happening, because it makes the spinner kind of look funky going through the water. So little rattle trap that came in that thing from Amazon. Crankbait again, another chatterbait, which makes me question that the other one wasn't a chatterbait. This one's kind of cool. I've thrown it a few times. So it's got you know, some dark colors, and these actually spun in the wind, which was kind of cool. A lot of times you don't see that. And here's a popper. I definitely know that's a popper by the way that the nose is made. And then a bunch more stick worms. Here's one that's wacky rigged up. As you can see, I've got the worm kind of through there, which I shouldn't do because I've got the rubber band on there, so it doesn't make sense. It should just be the rubber band and then the worm, not the hook through the worm. But you know, learning, trying to get better, trying to figure things out, taking Bass University on my cell phone. So fun stuff like that. Next up are the two most valuable things in my tackle box. Line clippers for tag ends, that when I'm, you know, tying stuff on, but also really great for when I get hung up and I can't break my line. So then as a novice or noob fisherman, I can just cut my line off with that. Or then obviously the needle nose pliers, which are great for getting hooks out of fish, or, you know, anything along those lines. So those are the last two things that are in my tackle boxes. That is my full bank fishing setup. Again, all right, so that is what I currently have in my tackle boxes. I like to buy bait every once in a while, new lures, things of that nature that I see. When I do that, I might throw in some lure reviews of newer stuff that I purchase, and things that I see that I get out of Academy, Shields, places like that, that could be something I use, or just straight show like on the bank, this is what I'm putting on the line, that type of a thing. So again, appreciate you watching. If you're still here at the end, like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hopefully you're out there going to catch some big ones. Thank you.